So how fitting that we celebrate communion today as we talk about the Passover. And if you haven't made the connection yet, Jesus redefines the Passover. So when he comes, and when he comes to Jerusalem before his crucifixion, do you remember the occasion upon which they show up in Jerusalem? It's at Passover. And so they celebrate Passover in the upper room. And Jesus describes for them as they take the bread and the wine together that it's his body and it's his blood. And we come to understand that Jesus is telling his original disciples that while for the original Passover participants, that unblemished lamb was the substitutionary atonement symbolically for them, that Jesus himself, who is perfect, who is sinless, would be the true Passover lamb. In fact, when John the Baptist sees him coming, he describes him in what way? Behold the Lamb of God who comes to take away what? The sin of the world. 1 Corinthians 5, 6 through 8 is Paul's writing to the Corinthians, and they've been boasting about some of the sin that their community has been delving into because of the great grace of God being on display in that situation. And Paul tells them this: your boasting is not good. Don't you know that a little yeast leavens the whole batch of dough? Get rid of the old yeast so that you may be a new unleavened batch as you really are. He's referring to the Passover, right? For Christ, our Passover lamb, has been sacrificed. Therefore, let us keep the festival, not with the old bread leavened with malice and wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. What's Paul saying? It's not the leaven, it's not the yeast that really matters. It's what it represents. And that's why we have a leavened loaf of bread up here. It's not really about the leaven. It's not about the yeast. It's about the state of our hearts. It's about our own purity and how Jesus, in his purity, made a way for us to be atoned, to be right with God, that we might be also passed over. Is that good news? It's good news. Elders, I'll invite you to come up as we get ready to celebrate. As they're coming, let me just remind you, if you can come down the center aisle, exit out the side aisle, we do have one of our elders who's ready to come to you. If you're unable to come forward, just raise your hand, and Andy will spot you and come bring the elements to you. And you'll take the elements on your own. So either step off to the side or bring it back to your seat and take it as you're ready. So on the night that Jesus was betrayed, he did take bread, and he broke it after giving thanks, and he gave it to his disciples, saying, "This is my body, broken for you." And after the supper, he took the cup, and after giving thanks, he told his disciples, "This is my blood of the new covenant shed for you. Do this in remembrance of me."